Spring and Easter is almost here, a season filled with hope and renewal.
And this week, 7 Everyday Hero spreads a little cheer all year round. Our Mitch Jelliker found him in Evergreen making a special delivery.
Hi, Melba. Hello. Hi. It's giving back.
It sure is. Every week.
Hi, Doris.
Come in.
Chris Roll buys 3 dozen roses.
Oh, I think it's wonderful.
And he delivers them to the residents of 2 Evergreen area assisted living centers.
I'm known here as Chris the Flower Guy.
Okay. You don't know how much those mean.
I'm glad to hear that. That's why I do it, to make people like you happy.
Those flowers mean a lot to these residents. It's knowing that they are important, that somebody's still thinking about them, and it just brightens up not only their rooms, but their lives for that day.
And some of them, they might not have family or friends nearby. So I may be the only one that they see from the outside world once a week. I'm Chris the Flower Guy. You remember me,
yes,
right?
I do indeed.
Hugs and thank yous are all that Chris needs in return.
Even if the roses cost me 2 or 3 times what they do, the thank yous I get here, well worth it.
He's just outstanding to even think of such a thing, and he has so much pleasure to so many people.
Chris Roll was looking for a way to give back and quickly found he gets more in return.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Chris.
Here you go.
Oh, the beautiful roses.
Some more roses.
Well, Chris, for all your volunteering, all your help here and across town, Denver 7 and American Financing would like to honor you as a 7 Everyday Hero for all your hard work. Nice work.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
And applause in the studio. To nominate a hero in your life, just go to thedenverchannel.com, click on our community section, and then 7 Everyday Heroes. So simple, but so meaningful as well.
Yeah, such a cute story.
Love it. Hey, we have rain and snow moving in for tomorrow. We'll have fog in the morning tomorrow morning, rain in the afternoon, changing to snow by the evening. That could last into early Tuesday, and then another chance for snow on Thursday.
Thank you, Stace. Sure. Well, coming up, John Elway and Vance Joseph are at the NFL owners' meetings talking about changing the rules and the draft.
Plus, the Rockies are ready to open the season this week. Can they make it back to the playoffs? Lionel, Troy, and Woody, they're all up next on Xfinity Sports Extra.
Welcome to Xfinity Sports Extra. I am back from some time off and have a full plate of goodies for you. We've got DU hockey trying to get back to the Frozen Four, but the Buckeyes said the buck stops here. The Rockies wrapping up spring training 4 days until opening day in Phoenix, back to where it all ended last season. And the Broncos, Vance Joseph, John Elway in Orlando for the NFL owners meetings, talking rules changes and the draft. And you know, we're 360 here on Denver 7, and sports is 360, a complete circle. Broncos, Rockies, Nuggets, Avalanche, everything in between. We're going to hit all that, all the points here tonight. Well, let's get this party started, shall we? As always, the VIPs. Broncos and Rockies insider Troy Rank and Denver sports legend Woody Page. Lots to talk about, guys. Let's start with what's happening today in Orlando. NFL owners meetings, John Elway, Vance Joseph, Joe Ellis, and others down there. Troy, first off, why should Broncos fans care about this, care about what's happening in Orlando this week, and how will it affect us here in Denver?
Well, you get all the particular guys you want to talk. That's Vance Joseph, John Elway. They talk about the team, the recent free agent signings. And there are also rule changes that are going to get passed. Hopefully that catch rule gets fixed so they eliminate survive to the ground. The other thing is the Broncos have submitted to try to get a bylaw change where you can trade guys, Woody, on the IR. Would help you get basically rid of players and use them as assets when they're hurt.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that rule change. The one that affects Denver and the entire NFL is the catch new law. And right. I like that one because they basically went from the ground up. And I mean by that they have decided that let's look at the end result and go back to the beginning. And so it's going to return, the rule is, to exactly what it was maybe 5 years ago before we started having all the problems.
Okay, free agency now. Broncos added quarterback Case Keenum, defensive lineman Clinton McDonald, offensive tackle Jared Veldheer, cornerback Jermaine Brock. They re-signed Todd Davis. Woody, you excited about all this? What grade would you give to the Broncos for their free agency work at this point?
Incomplete, which is what I got at least in 2 classes every year in college. I don't think that you can sit here and say, whoa, wow. Well, Case Keenum. would give them an A or A- because of Kirk Cousins and the Case Keenum, how's that going to work out? Still need a tight end. Still are going to need in the draft a defensive lineman. Still going to need an inside linebacker. They don't have much depth there. And I'll tell you what, I looked through the entire roster the other day. 3 running backs on the entire roster. That means that they've either got to go find another Jamal Charles or go real high in the draft to get a 4th guy to compete here.
Well, in the case of the Broncos right now, I give them B-, and here's why. They did address quarterback. Whether Keenum works out, we don't know, but they're dating, not married. The contract makes that deal make a lot more sense. They get a right tackle in Jared Valdir. I don't know if Valdir can still play. Is the problem. He's only played 9 games at right tackle. If he's the final solution at right tackle and that position's no longer what spinal tap is to drummers, then this offseason could be great. But as Woody mentioned, Lionel, they have some other needs. The running back situation, keep an eye on C.J. Anderson being traded on draft day just as Capri Bibbs was a year ago.
Yeah, all right, let's talk about the draft a little bit now. They have 9 picks in the first 5 rounds. And, guys, here's what Vance Joseph told Broncos TV today down at the owners' meetings in Orlando.
That's our goal, you know, to obviously draft impact players to help our football team now. You know, we don't want to be picking in the top 5 again. You know, so for this football team to be picking in the top 5 this year, we have to hit home runs, in my opinion, because, again, this is the last time we're going to be here, you know, in the top 5. So, you know, obviously, you know, we're researching. It's a lot of good players out there, and, you know, we want to find, you know, obviously the best fit for our football team, but we want guys who can help us right away.
That was Vance Joseph. Here's what John Elway said today, guys. Quote, "It's kind of funny. Everybody thinks they know what we're doing. I don't know where we're going yet. We'll have to wait and see. We have a lot of good options, which is a good thing," end quote. So John Elway just said that, Troy. Who are they going to pick at number 5?
I mean, I'm going to guess here. What the heck? Bradley Chubb, the defensive end from North Carolina State. I believe 3 quarterbacks go in the top 4. Barkley then goes to the Browns at 4. That leaves the Broncos deciding, do you want Baker Mayfield or do you want Bradley Chubb? The only reason you take Baker Mayfield is if you're drafting for 2019. He's not going to make you better next year because Keenum's supposed to be playing. Chubb could play in either scheme. I know he spent 4-3 in college. He would give you a pass rusher to pair with Von Miller. And that is one thing John Elway did say this weekend, repeating what he said at the Combine, Woody, was that, hey, our star players have to play better. Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, Brandon Marshall, and even Von Miller. So that's part of where this improvement's going to come from.
But you take Baker Mayfield at number 5, Woody, Broncos country will erupt on both sides. That'll be crazy.
I think it's going to be somebody that nobody erupts about. I think it's going to be like last year, that they'll end up with somebody like Quentin Nelson, and who would be a real upgrade to help that offensive line for the next 5 to 10 years. However, how are people going to respond in Denver? Not very well, and no more than last year. If you remember, we sat here and talked about, people.
Garrett Bowles.
Yeah. In regard to Vance Joseph and what he said, if they are picking number 5 next year, he won't be involved in the process.
That's true.
He'll be gone. Right. But if I were taking, I would trade that pick. I'd trade that pick to Buffalo and get number 12, get number 22, get both the kids out of Notre Dame and really shore up your offensive line. I'd get excited about that. I think people go, "Ooh, we got 2 more good young offensive linemen." I like that.
All right, they may not have the number 5 pick by the time you hit it on draft day. All right, let's switch to baseball, shall we? It's opening week for the Rockies, and they get ready to rock and roll for real. Today, though, was the second to last spring training game against the D-backs again. Mike Tauchman, spring training MVP. Yay! That's about the only thing that happened today for the Rockies. That was the highlight, nothing else.